All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to take a little break from the finals to talk about one of the most storied franchises in NBA history. We're going to talk about the Lakers. Some huge breaking news that broke on Wednesday. The report says from ESPN's Shams Charania, the Buzz family is entering an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of Diversified Holdings Company TWG Global. Sources tell ESPN Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in her role as governor after the sale. So yeah, I had heard some rumblings about this. I had heard some like maybe float around ideas. Never anything concrete. This was all very, I guess, um, undercover. It was all very like hush hush, and it finally happened, and the team sold for a record $10 billion, 10 billion, to Mark Walters, who is known around the Los Angeles area for other things as a businessman. We'll talk about that. Um, we're going to talk about what this means for LeBron, who's on the left side of your screen, um, Luka, who's on the right side, what it means for JJ Redick, what it means for Coach JJ Redick, I should say, what it means for Rob Palenka, what it means for Jeannie Buss, because she's going to serve as the governor still, which is interesting, and what it means for uh, going forward, free agency this year, etc., etc. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below, and if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So yeah, let's break this down a little bit. Let's talk about it. This is one of the most important things that's happened this month. I would say. I think probably at the end of this month, at the beginning of next month, we'll get the Kevin Durant trade. That'll be probably equally as important. But this is one of the bigger um, news things that came out this week and this month. Obviously, we'll get the NBA champions this month. I do want to say that the Buss family, Jerry Buss, Jeannie Buss's father, bought this team in 1979, pardon me. It included the purchase of the Los Angeles Kings, the hockey team, the Forum, which they used to play at, they no longer play at, um, and some other assets for a total of $67 million. So a, a huge come up from $67 million to 10 billion. Um, what this means for what this means in general is that the NBA is at an all time high. Um, in how do you say it in revenue, in intrigue, in profitability. Their new TV deal is starting next season. Um, just for like some what do you call it? Some perspective here. The Celtics, the other storied franchise of this league, um, sold a couple months ago. I believe it's 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago at this point. They sold for $66.1 billion. So a huge disparity. I guess it's because of the warm weather in LA. Because the Celtics have a more recent championship than the Lakers, but I guess people the guy who bought this Mark thinks the Lakers um have a better future. I don't know. Um, just to I guess let's get into it, right? Because this guy Mark, right, who I read, he's a finance bro from what it looks like. Mark also owns the Dodgers. I did not know that. So he owns the two most premier teams in LA, because the Kings really aren't that good. The Los Angeles Kings um, hockey team, they aren't that good. I think they have a soccer team. They're not that they're okay. He also is going to get with ownership of the Lakers. He's also going to get co-ownership of the Sparks, the WNBA team. Um, excuse me. Mark also owns a significant share in Chelsea FC, and he owns some other companies. And he's to have this amount of money, you need to have your fingers in a lot of ovens on the fire, so to speak. Ovens on the fire. A lot of pans on the fire. That's what I meant to say. um, so yeah, he's gonna be the guy in LA, and if you know anything about the Dodgers are not scared to spend money. They've spent an ungodly amount of money on a lot of players over the past like 2 3 years especially, and they're really good from what I hear. I'm not a big baseball guy, um, but let's dive into what this means. What does this mean for? Well, let's start from the top and we'll work our way down here. Um, what does it mean for Jeannie Buss, now the former owner, only in name governor of the team? Um, when this has happened a couple of times. It's going to happen with the Celtics. It's already happened with the Mavs, who sold last year or the year prior to that. Um, the previous owner of the team, don't really want to say owner anymore. That's not really what they call them anymore. Previous governor, Mark Cuban, sold the team. He wanted to retain the same amount of not control, but just like guidance to guide the new owner, teach him the ropes of the NBA ownership landscape and all this and all that. And it didn't go like that. I think Mark was there for maybe a total of like 14 months, 18 months, and then he was out. He just wasn't the governor anymore. He literally they I don't think they even made an announcement about it. They just said, "Nah, we don't need you anymore, Mark. Just go on your way." And Mark stepped away. He said some things about obviously the Luka trade that happened to the Lakers months ago. At this point, he didn't like it. He said it wouldn't have happened if he was still there. Um, he sort of, for lack of a better term, he got backdoored. Like he just got shown the back door and said, "Bye, Mark. Thank you for selling us the team. Bye now," and they got rid of him. Um, I This is going to happen with the Celtics too. I think there's some whisperings that this is the same sort of situation that's going to happen with the Celtics once full ownership is transferred to the new owners and stuff. They're going to keep the old owner on for a couple, or some people from the old ownership group on as like governors and like to guide them a little bit. But after that, they're not gonna. Once they get enough, they have enough intel and they have enough power. Um, they're going to show X person the back door. um, and I don't have a suspicion. I know that's going to happen with Genie Bus. Um, recent history tells you that it would help. It would happen with Genie, but I think Mark has enough respect for Genie in the sense of Jeannie and her family have been such a staple in Los Angeles for many, many years. They've presided over many eras of Laker basketball. And I thought they would at least preside over this Luca situation for at least a couple more years. But to to turn down 10 billion and not knowing what the future is is the right thing to do. I think anybody who had 60 whatever million um to to turn it into 10 billion and really not know what the future is a great come up. And I think Genie will earn some more respect, or has earned the respect of um the people in Los Angeles. I think there's a comfortable comfortable how do you say it? Like there's a comfort um with Genie operating this team, even though there have been some questionable things that have happened under her tenure as like the full sole owner. Um, Jerry passed away some years ago. At this point, there was a whole big debacle between Jeannie and her brother, and Jeannie finally got sole control. I think at some point in the early 2010s, um, and she's been operating the team alongside guys like Rob Palenka, obviously the multiple coaches that have come through their doors. Magic Johnson even tried to lend a hand at some point to help the team. And I think Jeannie knows what she's doing. in the sense of she's a very smart businesswoman. And not to say Marcus, Mark has done a great job with the Dodgers, obviously, but basketball is a little different. And basketball is hard to not hard to sell, but basketball is you, especially in LA, you always need to be talked about. It's what have you done? It's a what have you done for me recently league. And I think Jeannie knows that. I've watched a lot of podcasts with Jeannie, obviously prior to this, over the years. Very smart woman, very smart businesswoman, and I think I would put it maybe she's there for like 2 3 years, and then she fully steps away from the team. But it wouldn't surprise me if something happens and Mark wants to do something and Jeannie doesn't, and then Mark's like, "Well, I'm the owner, so screw you. You don't have any control really. You're just here in name and title. Get out." You know, I don't think that happened, but you never know. Um, Move on to Rob Palenka. Um, Rob Palenka, who I talked about in my Mavs turmoil video. If you want to check that out, I'll put a card in the top right corner. It's a little outdated. It was before the Mavs got the number one pick, but still a lot of things apply. So check it out if you want it. If you want to. Um, Rob Palenka is the full like head honcho in the um, general manager and basketball operations position. He was Kobe Bryant's agent. He has a lot of juice with the Lakers. He's been around the Lakers for many decades at this point. Maybe I'd say what would you say? I'd say like 2 decades, perhaps. Yeah, 2 decades, so 20 years. I'd say around that point. Yeah. Um, and once we get past Jeannie herself, moving on to these other people, um, there has to be, and I always say this, there has to be an uneasiness with a new owner, a new governor, because you're not buddy buddy with them. They don't know you. You're not their friend. They're not your friend. It's a business relationship to start with, right? And then you grow that relationship, obviously. But I think Rob is going to do everything in his power to show that he deserves the job. Um, Not that Jeannie will just tell Mark, "Oh yeah, Rob's one of the best in the business," right? Because you do that for your friend. You do that for somebody who you've succeeded with. Jeannie and Rob and have won a championship together as owner and as governor and GM, um, and they're very proud of that championship. And you can tell throughout the year that they won that championship, they're very proud of what they have built together. And I think Rob is going to do everything in his power this offseason to show Mark, to show Luca too, to show LeBron. LeBron's already won a championship with him, so it's not too important. But to show everybody, hey, I'm still a competent GM. I'm not just here because Jeannie's my friend and we're cool. I'm here because I actually know how to do my job. And I think that might be exactly what Rob needs, um, to put his feet to the fire a little bit and Mark me like, hey, show me. Because if you aren't the guy, I have no hesitation. You're not my friend. You're not this. You're not that. So you have to do your job really, and not just like sit around on your hands. And I will say, Rob got a lot of points from me for being the architect of this Luka trade. Whether you think there's a conspiracy theory or whatever, um, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Rob really has to put his put his pedal to the metal, put his feet to the floor and gas it a little bit. Um, let's move on to Luca. What does this mean for Luca? There's been a lot of swirling pictures and rumors, as always, in the off season that Luca's skinny now. Luca's this. Luca's that. He's working out. He's posted some workout pictures. He looks great. Um, this is the thing about the NBA offseason is that you're like, oh my god, this player looks great. And then when they get through the season, they look great. And then maybe towards the middle of the season, he starts looking a little chubby again, or they look out of shape, or the three ball isn't falling like they were practicing all summer. These are the things that happen in the NBA. There's sort of I think I'll try to say the word again, comfortability that Luca that you bought the team maybe for like 2 billion more, right? Could have been 8 billion. You sold it for 2 billion more. because they have Luka, because the future looks so bright, because he has so many intangibles and so many things he's already accomplished in the NBA, um, that you look at and say, Luka's got a bit more of a runway. I think he was gonna have a runway, whether or not Genie or the Bus family was owners or whatever. But I think even more so, you look at um, Mark getting Shohei Otani on the Dodgers, right? Shohei's been injured. He hasn't pitched. I think he's pitched recently. There's a sense of patience with Mark, I think, and I think Luka's gonna have that too, where Mark is gonna be patient with Luka, and there isn't. Mark knows the history of the Lakers, but he hasn't experienced the history of the Lakers. It's different when you've experienced it as Genie Bus, as Rob Pelinka, where you're like, oh, we know what it's like. We expect this, this, and this. Mark doesn't know what to expect. Luka is gonna put on a show every night next season, almost every night next season, and Mark is gonna be sitting courtside or in his box or wherever he's gonna sit. He's gonna watch Luka, and he's gonna see the greatness of Luka and be like, "Oh my God, I can never trade this guy." He's gonna fall in love with him. It's gonna be his first kid, like what I mean. Like when you fall in love with this player, and you have these moments where you're like, "Oh my God, I love this player. I can never trade this player." You're golden, right? Luka's safe. There's the other side of it where, why you look at it and as an owner you say, well, I didn't trade for this guy. I never wanted this guy. Get him out of here. There's the other side of that too, but I don't think that's going to happen with Luka. I think Luka's very safe. I think if anything, he could earn more trust. From what I've heard from LeBron himself, from Genie, both of those people, especially Rob and Genie, or not Rob, LeBron and Genie, were huge helps in acclimating Luka to Los Angeles. I've heard nothing but great things from their mouths, them saying, we wanted to help Luka, I've helped Luka, this, that, and the third. Um, and I think there's going to be a sort of uh, maturation process between Luka and Mark and this relationship that's going to build hopefully over the next decade. But I think it's going to be fruitful. Um, to move on to LeBron. LeBron's the funny piece here. Because again, the thing of I never trade this guy. I never liked this player. New owner syndrome is what it's been coined. To just do something so drastic, like trade LeBron, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the writing's been on the wall for LeBron, especially. It hits differently in the offseason. The last couple of seasons that LeBron hasn't made the playoffs have been first round bounce, second round bounce, where it's like, wow, he really isn't going to play that much longer. It's going to be 2, maybe 3 more years. Who knows? Um, and I don't think you have to worry about LeBron. LeBron has been through so many ownership changes, so many coaching changes, so many roster changes. I don't think he's not unfamiliar with the situation that he's in. And I think um, you kind of just you keep LeBron, you keep him happy. I think the main prerogative is to keep Luka happy at this point because he still needs to sign that extension this off season. Once that's signed and sealed away and it's put to the league office and the first check's gone to Luka's account, um, I think Luka becomes the main priority for um, this new owner, Rob, Luka himself, and even LeBron, who I've watched LeBron's podcast with Steve Nash, and LeBron's been very open in saying this is going to be Luka's team. He hasn't said he's already better than me, but he's sort of danced around like he's already better than me. He needs to take that step and take care of himself, take care of his on the court stuff, off the court stuff, and be one of the greatest foreign players ever. And for LeBron, I think this is one of the final stages of his career where you're like, there's a little bit of uncertainty with him always, but I think new owners always love having one of the greatest players of all time. Be like, oh my God, that's LeBron. I can't get rid of LeBron, you know? To dive into some other stuff real quick, because I just wanted to run through that because I thought it was important to talk about all these guys that are involved in this thing. Um, seven time seven time world champions the Lakers are. Um, Walter was a minority stakeholder in the Lakers since 2021, so he's been around. He's been in the background. Um, he has a lot of interest in other sports organizations, and he owns a lot of sports organizations. He's interested in the Cadillac Formula One team and the Women's Professional Hockey League. I did watch a game of that the other night. Yeah, the other night or something like that. Very interesting. So he's a businessman's businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's been around. I wanna make this so clear, because I don't want to make it sound like I don't think I'm always hard on the NBA. I'm always hard on Adam Silver. I think teams like the Lakers do a great job of being um, profitable, and what they do best is sell tickets, especially in LA. Um, Never mind the fact that they took away Jerry West's season tickets because he said some bad things about the team. Jerry West, former Laker great, passed away last year, I believe. Rest his soul. They've done some scummy things too, as every organization does. But they make money. They print money. Um, this was reported by Brian Windhorst, who got some inside intel leaked to him in the past. This was a TV deal he was speaking about. He said the Lakers have made more off their local TV deal in 1 week than the Grizzlies make their whole season. The Lakers have a deal with Spectrum Sports, one of the most profitable um, partnerships in sports television, I believe. And they make more than one team makes in a year, which is they make more in 1 week than what one team makes in a whole year of broadcasting their product um, to their local network. Um, to round out this video here. This is from Bill Simmons, um, basketball savant, the Podfather, the basketball podcast godfather. He tweeted this: the Buss family owns 66% of the Lakers slash Walter's side owned 27%. Random owners 7%. Walter offered $4 billion for 48% more. The evaluation was $10 billion. Buss family said yes, keep 18%. So Walter's side paid $1.3 billion in 2021 for 27%, then 4.8 billion in and then 4.8 billion for 48% for a total of 6.15 billion for a total of 75% majority. And the Celtics total price was 6.1 billion. Just as a comparison. Um, Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I can't understate because I've been a basketball fan for a long time. I remember when like a max player contract was like $50 million in the early 2010s. And now a max player contract can go up to $200 million. And I remember when teams would sell for like whatever Jerry bought it for, like 60 million, 100 million, and now they're in the billions, man. It's crazy what basketball has become, what it's changed into. Um, and the future for the Lakers has looked a little as I don't think the Lakers have looked any more brighter than when they signed LeBron back in the was that 2018 20 that was 20 yeah 2018 off season, I believe. So yeah, was it 20? Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Yeah, but I don't think it's ever looked brighter for Los Angeles fans. You got Luca. It's sad to see the Buss family exit the picture as majority owner, but the owner of the Dodgers, how much better can it get? Keep it in the LA area. Um, and you have, right now, at this current moment of recording, you have a bright offseason to look forward to because it looks like you're going to spend money. You're going to make trades. There have always been trades. and you're gonna hit on some free agents or sign in trades or whatever the case may be. This team and this franchise is gonna look great going into the latter half of this decade, and you're gonna get the LeBron farewell tour. How much better can it be? If you like what I say, like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.